As cleanup continues following this week's blizzard, the challenges cities are facing getting it all off the roads.
Pickup trucks with this level of snow don't work. It's too much snow. It goes over the top of the plow blade.
We'll take a closer look at how the storm became so big and powerful.
Going to have a mix between some warmer ocean waters and very cold Arctic air.
The cold winter is taking a toll on Florida's crops.
Whenever I see temperatures getting to where they were, I get nervous.
How search and rescue teams prepare to keep you safe.
We get called out sometimes 3 times a day for rescues.
And it's a sweet time of year. Maple syrup season is almost here.
Warmer days and freezing nights is all it takes to get the sap flowing from the trees.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Most schools in Rhode Island and Massachusetts are closed again today as communities continue to dig out from this week's record snowfall. Now, many residents say they're frustrated. It's taking days for the plows to even reach their neighborhoods. Multiple deaths are now blamed on the blizzard, including a Rhode Island student who died from carbon monoxide poisoning and a Connecticut man who was struck by a truck while stopped on the Massachusetts Turnpike to clean snow off his car. Now, 200,000 homes and businesses are still without power. More than half of those are on Cape Cod in Massachusetts. Now, airline schedules are returning to normal. So far, just 350 flights were canceled today, down from 6,000 on Monday and 2,500 yesterday. We have 2 reports from hard-hit New England, starting with Marty Levin in Providence.
The blizzard of 2026 breaking records. Probably backs too as Rhode Islanders dig out of over 30 inches of snow.
We're effectively doing the same for the city, but it's going to take a little bit.
And while the statewide travel ban has been lifted,
I wish it would stay in effect as long as possible.
it won't do Providence residents who live on a side street any good.
Pickup trucks with this level of snow, the highest amount of snow the city's ever received, don't work. It's too much snow. It goes over the top of the plow blade.
The city has about 100 vehicles working to remove the snow, and the mayor says he's already requested assistance from the state and neighboring states like Connecticut and Massachusetts. This is a lot of snow that's going to take a lot of time to clear. The mayor tells us that it could take days.
For 2 days now, Lincoln Street has dead-ended into a snowdrift that not even this plow could get through.
This guy's been stuck since noon yesterday.
To get out of their home, this man and woman had to wade through snow up to their thighs.
Very tough to get out. I've been here it's been 2 days. We've been literally stranded.
Neighbors say dozens of families live on Lincoln Street, Mayflower Street, and the surrounding side streets. None of them had seen a plow come through since the start of the blizzard on Sunday night. Would you say you're trapped?
Well, I mean, outside of snowshoes, yes.
Mark Casey says even with his snowshoes, getting out of this neighborhood would be a trek.
To get to a store, I would have to go 3.5 to 4 miles.
In some places here on Lincoln Street, the snow is knee-deep, but in other places, because of the drifts, it's hip-deep.
We have a lot of that right now. This town was hit very hard, a lot of snow, heavy packed snow, like I really haven't seen before.
By mid-afternoon, this bucket loader showed up on Lincoln Street. The operator said he hadn't slept in 2 days.
There's no shame in this. We have the best operators around. It all comes down to the storm.
And as we mentioned, the storm was record-setting. Meteorologist Noah Hawk explains all the factors that came together to make the blizzard so big and powerful.
Well, it's going to come from a low-pressure system that was riding up along the east coast, known as a nor'easter, because it'll bring northeasterly flow in those winds across the land. So as it rode up the coast, going to have a mix between some warmer ocean waters and very cold Arctic air. And this difference between those temperatures, known as the temperature gradient, became very strong. And the stronger that it gets, the more intense the system itself gets. And this one in particular also turned into a bomb cyclone. So this is where that central pressure, right where this low is going to drop by 24 or more millibars in just 24 hours or less. Now, these types of storms can happen at any time of the year, but are going to be most common anywhere from October until March, because that's when our upper level flow or the jet stream is most active. But it brings a whole lot of snow and hurricane force winds in some instances. But some places, like just to the south of Providence, Rhode Island, saw over 3 feet of snow. But how much is that really? 3 feet doesn't seem like a whole lot of snow, and for reference, I'm about 6'2". But when you put it next to a person and give it some perspective, it actually turns out to be quite a bit of snow. And for me, that's going to be right about to my waist or a little bit above. And because there were some hurricane force winds involved with this blizzard, also there are some pretty big snow drifts when that snow gets blown around, and especially along buildings. Now, these are going to be unofficial totals as of now, but when that snow is able to accumulate along buildings, some of those snow drifts could be all the way up from 10 to even 12 feet. You can even see some of our studio lights in here because that's just how big of an area we needed to give you this perspective of how much snow really did fall from just one storm.
Well, freeze warnings and frost advisories were posted overnight again for most of Florida. It's been an all too common thing this winter, and it's causing big problems for the agricultural business in that state. Now, farmers are losing billions of dollars in crops. Tiffany Rizzo has more.
Florida farmers heard another cold front was moving through.
It means how long and how cold. Little freeze, not a huge deal.
But they're not taking any chances after major freezes late January into February.
Whenever I see temperatures getting to where they were, I get nervous.
And to Dan Ritchie's pleasant surprise, this time there was no frost.
We'll take luck. We'll take luck. Mother Nature usually wins.
There's absolutely nothing wrong inside this fruit.
State officials estimate the 2026 freezes caused $3.1 billion in losses, from strawberries to sugarcane to citrus. At Al's family farm, they rushed to pick up what they could.
Cold weather was tough. We ended up picking a lot of our groves sooner than we anticipated to try to alleviate some of the problems.
Both citrus farmers I spoke with on the Treasure Coast had damage and lost product.
We're seeing more fruit damage, more tree damage as time goes on.
Vegetable growers felt it too.
There was a lot of frost, a lot of tip burn, fringe burn, frost damage on the lettuce.
So they did what they could to protect their crops.
We spent a lot of money flying helicopters for frost protection, saving it the first go around.
And for many of these farmers, the stakes are personal.
We're not just a factory making widgets. This is our livelihood, and we try to have continuous and constant supply, so these freezes and weather events can impact that supply.
Farmers say they're now focusing on recovery, giving trees time to heal, and hoping warmer weather sticks around. In Vero Beach, I'm Tiffany Rizzo reporting.
And the ongoing drought is a major issue in Texas. The state, along with Oklahoma, recently saw a major outbreak of wildfires. Now areas around Abilene are dealing with near critical fire weather conditions. Jackson Burleson has more.
Gusty southwest winds today, 20 to 30 miles an hour, and gusting up to close to 40 miles an hour at times. And that, along with relative humidity values that'll be dropping to near 15% in some locations, mainly in our western areas. Those two factors will combine to create elevated to near critical fire weather conditions.
When facing these conditions, it's important to take extra precautions. Here's some safety tips to keep in mind.
Well, the easiest thing to do is just try not to take part in any activities that might result in any sparks or fires. But other things, like don't throw cigarettes out your car windows. Try to keep any chains that you have attached to your vehicles from dragging on the concrete. Don't park hot vehicles in tall grass. Those kind of things. And
over the next couple of days, these conditions are expected to impact much of the region.
Well, for today, it's all of the big country, and then as you move off to the northwest into the Cap Rock and into the Panhandle, it's even more critical up there with drier weather and very similar wind speeds. And then tomorrow, the threat shifts to the south a little bit, so it kind of moves out of the big country and into the Concho Valley, heartland areas.
And check this out. This is an ice volcano sitting on the shores of Lake Ontario near Rochester, New York. It was formed by waves crashing into an ice sheet, pushing water and slush through ice cracks. As the ice erodes, a V-shaped channel forms, allowing the water to splash through the top, mimicking the appearance of a volcano. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll give you an up-close look at cloud seeding and find out why it's so controversial. And maple syrup season is off to an early start in Wisconsin. We'll show you what role the weather is playing and the timing that starts the tree tapping.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We're tracking a round of light snow move through the area today, particularly during the morning hours, and it's nothing like the snowstorm we had on Monday, the blizzard, of course. This one will bring 1, 2, maybe in some cases 3 inches of snow, and it's gone by afternoon. That's 8 p.m. You might get a snow shower, mostly in the mountains. Brighter skies return on Thursday. Those temps look more seasonable. We should be in the middle 30s. And again, many areas will get 1 to 3 inches of snow.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Bailey. Here's a look at the mid-Atlantic region. So precipitation will continue into your Wednesday with some snow off to the north. Could be rain anywhere from Maryland down south to Virginia. The mountains are the exception. But even as the front crosses through, we get some chance to warm up a bit, and then another disturbance rolling through to bring rainfall to the southern portion of the area mostly. Temperatures, as we said, having a chance to get a little warmer going through Wednesday. Upper 50s into Virginia and Maryland with 30s on Thursday.
Good Wednesday morning, meteorologist Michael Arenberg checking out your southeast regional forecast for this Wednesday. Lots of clouds beginning to build across parts of Arkansas through Tennessee, northern Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. And there could be some rain and showers later in the day and at night for areas far north and western North Carolina, Tennessee, and even North Carolina. The rest of the southeast, south of Atlanta will be enjoying plenty of sunshine with high pressure. Temperatures will range from the 60s and 50s up north to the 70s over much of Florida.
I'm meteorologist Paul Poteet at Local 12, WKRC in Cincinnati, Ohio. And you are watching the National Weather Desk.
A small earthquake rattling Washington state yesterday. Meteorologist Waldenberger explains what happened and shows us the 3 types of quakes in that state.
Look at the recent earthquakes over the past 10 days. As usual, most of them over California, but then here's the one that Molly was just introducing near Cathcart in Snohomish County. So people in Snohomish, Silver Firs, Mukilteo, Everett, over towards Shoreline, Edmonds, and Monroe reported feeling this, but also realized this is a weak earthquake, magnitude 3.0. These usually are too weak to produce damage, and there are so many people in this area that didn't feel this either. Now, this is a shallow earthquake. It's one of 3 types of earthquakes that we have here in Washington. The other, a deep earthquake, that was the Nisqually, which we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of. The 3rd type along the subduction zone, those are the megathrust earthquakes that can be even stronger. But right now, this is fairly normal activity. We tend to get 10 to 20 felt earthquakes per year in the state of Washington. Most of them tend to be the shallower variety, which is what this was.
And when it comes to weather-related emergencies, rescue teams are on alert all year long. Sadie Risen gives us a look at how search and rescue teams in Montana prepare for weather-related disasters and some of the issues that come up against when they're on the road.
From boating emergencies on Flathead Lake to backcountry rescues in remote terrain, Lake County search and rescue volunteers are on call year-round.
And we're extremely busy down here, especially in summer months. We get called out sometimes 3 times a day for rescues, and then we do other assists as well.
Volunteers say the summer tourist season brings the most calls, especially on Flathead Lake.
What we tell people is you know, wear your PFD. If you're not used to being on this kind of a water, and Flathead Lake is more like an ocean than it is a lake. because we'll have winds pick up and we'll have, like, sometimes in Polson Bay, we'll have 2 to 4 footers. Go with somebody experienced or check the weather before you go.
The organization is made up entirely of volunteers, many juggling full-time jobs while responding to emergencies.
We have about 45 people on the roster. These are all volunteers with jobs, personal lives, families. So they come out on a best effort. We all have a pager application on our cell phones that alerts us when the dispatch has a call out. And so we'll generally get maybe 10 to 20 people on any given call.
While a small portion of local property taxes helps cover basic costs, officials say it only makes up a fraction of what's needed.
Lake County was kind enough to pass a mill levy some years ago that gives us a very small percentage of the tax base, and that helps pay for things like the mortgage on the facility that we're in, basic vehicle maintenance, but it doesn't cover operational costs like fuel, equipment, ropes, gear, boats.
Past donations have funded rescue vehicles, dry suits, and command equipment. The team says every donation helps keep rescuers equipped and ready to respond.
And if you're a maple syrup fan, you're in luck. That's because the maple syrup season is getting underway. This is especially true in northeast Wisconsin, where major temperature swings signal it's tapping time. Meteorologist Audrey Lee has more.
When it comes to making maple syrup, warmer days and freezing nights is all it takes to get the sap flowing from the trees.
Middle to late February is usually when we typically look to start tapping trees. Like I said, it all depends on the weather patterns and the flow.
Every season is different. When temperatures cycle between warm and cold periods, it helps produce more sap.
If you get a snow or a little freeze up for a couple days or a week, that's like a reset, and it resets the trees, and then they'll start running again once it warms up. But if you get a prolonged warm period for 2, 3, 4 weeks, where you don't really get good freezing temperatures, it's going to pull the ground, it's going to warm the ground up, and pretty soon the trees are going to go into bud.
Once the maple trees begin to bud, the syrup season comes to an end. It takes about 40 to 50 gallons of sap to produce just 1 gallon of maple syrup.
Last year, we collected our most we ever collected on the farm, about 31,000 gallons of sap out of the tree. And we've done as little as about 12,000 gallons.
And while our warmer weather may make it feel like spring, it's still winter, and temperatures can quickly turn colder again, meaning it's still too early to know how this year's syrup season will turn out. But fresh maple syrup will soon be available from local producers, continuing a seasonal tradition that depends entirely on the weather.
And when people mention weather modifications, something known as cloud seeding often comes to mind. It can be a useful tool, but has also become a very controversial practice. Meteorologist David Holtman explains.
The idea of modifying the weather to produce more rain, also known as cloud seeding, is not a new idea or practice. One of the earliest documented times it was used dates back to the 1940s, when the United States government tried to cloud seed into a hurricane. Backlash sparked up due to the hurricane changing course, and citizens believed that cloud seeding was to blame. Research into cloud seeding then died in the following decades. However, with the United States facing some of the most severe droughts in recorded history, interest in the practice is on the rise. But what is cloud seeding?
What cloud seeding does is it supplies substances into the cloud that we call condensation nuclei or ice nuclei. It's things that the water can condense around or freeze onto so that you have a mixture of sizes. So the bigger drops then will actually start to fall toward the ground. As they bump into the tiny drops, they collect them, so you grow your drops bigger and bigger.
But does it work?
We've flown around 60 or 70 missions so far this season. Those missions consist of hundreds of flights now. And in those operations, we're seeing anywhere from tens to hundreds of acre feet. And so that's just reliant on us targeting the right cloud successfully. And if you can do that, then you can, with 100% confidence, produce more precipitation afterwards.
Hundreds of acre feet of water may sound like a lot, but Dorico claims that over such a large area, this only amounts to a light drizzle or flurry. But that begs the question, if man could make rain, could companies go the next step and create severe thunderstorms or tornadoes?
We can't make a storm out of nothing. If there are already natural clouds, you can choose to seed them or not and make them precipitate more than they otherwise would have. If a cloud is already going to rain a bunch, right? If the reservoirs are already too full and you don't need any more rain, even if customers want more, we're not regulatorily or legally allowed to keep seeding, nor do we want to, right? We want to produce water for people that need it, not do this wantonly.
If the idea of weather modification scares you, Iowa already has changed our weather in a practice that's been going on for over 2 centuries. Planting corn, and every Iowan deep down knows it. We say phrases like corn sweat, and it's not the heat, it's the humidity that gets you.
And time now for a short break, but first we take to the skies over Parkton, Maryland.
Well, a very good Wednesday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Got a little bit of very light wintry mix across the Midwest for the day today, but generally we're not looking at any major system kicking its way through the Midwest today. Tomorrow we've got a little rain snow mix kicking its way through the lower Ohio Valley and a little bit of light snow across the Great Lakes. Dry for us on Friday with temperatures warming up and a lot of sun.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather, a little on the chilly side. For our friends in Amarillo, back Oklahoma City, into the 40s, everybody else 50s. We've got some 60s right up along the coast. Got a few clouds hanging around up to the north with a little bit of a low pressure area. It's not going to bring much rain, but it will bring dry air into the region. That will fire up the fire risk, so we'll keep an eye on that. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi, everybody, and a happy Wednesday to you. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Out west, it still looks warm for spring training. Back to nearly 90 today in the Valley of the Sun and 76 out along the California coastline in San Diego. Still feeling wintry enough around Jackson Hole with a disturbance on the way, bringing some gusty winds and some snow toward Yellowstone. A flood watch in place around Cape Mendocino and into Brookings, Oregon. And that's the scene from here.
Locally covered, nationally connected. The National Weather Desk delivers America's weather now.
So when you hear terms like isolated showers or widespread showers, do you know what they mean? Flint, Michigan meteorologist Eric Estreva has the answers.
The percentages kind of give you an idea of whether or not you may see any of that actually happening in your neighborhood. The 20%, so an isolated chance, if we're kind of keeping that grid as like a map of your area, you only see a select few that may have the precipitation, while the rest of the area may not see anything. When we go to a widely scattered chance, that's more of a 20 to 40% chance. We're seeing a little bit more of that activity in the area, but there's still a decent chunk of cities and also people that may not have any of that precipitation. It starts to get a little bit more widespread, of course, as you go into scattered, numerous, and like we mentioned, widespread when you get into 40 to 60, 60 to 80, and then 80% or more. So we think about this as a grid or a map. When you start to hear scattered, numerous, more occasional or widespread, that's a much higher chance that you will see the precipitation in your neck of the woods.
And thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great day, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow.